I was attractive, and it's their loss. But no, I mean, what I have against religion is that they start you when you are so defenseless. I mean, I was 3 or something when they started pumping this bullshit into my head. I believed in Santa Claus and the fairy godmother. Of course I believed in a virgin birth, and a guy lived in a whale, and a woman came from a rib. But then, something very important happened to me that made me doubt all of it. I graduated 6th grade. Thank you. I mean, God almighty. I really understand how this nightmare of clerical pedophilia could have happened, because if you're a priest and you spend your whole life spewing this nonsense about the snake and the whale and the apple and the rib, it's like, oh, fuck it, just blow me, kid. What the fuck? Also, what is so hard about just saying the words, I don't know? I don't know. Of course there are questions that plague all of us. How did we get here? What happens when we die? Is there a heaven? Am I on the list? But why would you believe what some other human being, whose brain, I promise you, is no bigger or better than yours, when he tells you he knows what happens when you die? Don't masturbate now. You won't get to hang out with Jesus in heaven. How do I know? I've got a pointy hat. I've got a hat and a robe, and I have smoke and a wand. It's so gay, the whole church. It's just, could they just come out of the closet, really? I mean, it's just so, you know, every Sunday it's such a pageant with the costumes and the wands and the goblets and the smoke and the kneeling down in front of another man with your mouth open. Nothing gay about that, no. Nothing gay there. Are our religions corrupt? Yes, of course they are. But once again, I have to say, their religions, even worse. Even worse. I mean, that thing about the 72 virgins, that's the lowest. Promising pussy in the afterlife is the lowest thing I've ever heard in my life. I mean, I am no Christian, but I do think Jesus is a fantastic role model, and the reason he is because he never said anything like, blessed are the meek, for they shall get laid. Also, by the way, 72 virgins is very suspicious to me. It's a clue. It tells you we're dealing with people from a bartering culture. Because nobody starts with that number. Somebody said 100 virgins, 50, 85, 69, 79, 71, 73, 72, done. That's how you got 72. Yes. This obsession we have with kids, whatever happened to people? You know, the veterans of childhood, those of us who made it out, don't we count anymore? Must everything be for and about the children, our most precious resource? Don't you think we should stop celebrating spawning? People celebrate spawning. It's not a virtue anymore. There's 6 billion people. We're not rebuilding after the flood now. You know, stop celebrating. Every Mother's Day, they give an award to some maniac who shitted out 20 kids or something. She's the mother of, you know, this woman shouldn't get an award. She should have her legs tied together and be heavily sedated. I don't want this woman able to have children. Those plucky McCoys of Iowa, that litter of puppies that woman had, and then they have the nerve to say it's a miracle from God. It's a miracle from Pfizer, okay? This has nothing to do with God. This has only to do with masturbating into a cup and lab coats and turkey basters. I don't dislike children. I just don't particularly want to be around them a lot. The problem is, neither do their parents. And I'm getting tired of being constantly involuntarily deputized into the fight to keep your kids away from adult pleasures, you know? What happened to telling kids some things are for children and some things are not? I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of nonviolent drug offenders in jail now because that's the front line of defense in keeping drugs out of the hands of children, and it's just not right. You know, this drug war, we put up with so much shit because of it. I do personally. There's censorship in television. I can't make a joke about taking drugs on my show. We can talk about taking drugs, but we can't make a joke because the kids might be watching. We made it funny. No, then they'd want to run out and they'd do it and they'd take drugs and that could lead to dancing. But I mean, get real. You can't lie to kids about drugs. They know about drugs. You can't say they're just all bad, and they know life is a little more complicated than that. We are sexual, and we're kinky beings. You know, nature is kinky. You're not weird. I should have to make this point in this city. But nature is not normal. I mean, even in nature, watch the Discovery Channel. You know, there's homosexuality, there's incest, there's divorce. All birds masturbate. You thought that was shit on your car. No. And that is why we do have religion. To make us feel guilty about that. And of all the places, I'm sorry, where we need cynicism, we need it the most with religion. I mean, the Bible, people, stop with the Bible. With all due respect, exited sir, I mean, God doesn't write books, okay? He can make a sunset. Why would he want to? You know, this idea that we make God into this semi-human, you know, he's a single parent who writes books and gets pissed, you know, he has a son. What is this, Bonanza? He has a son. I know that you can't know God. You know, our imaginations and imagining anything other than us is so limited. Everything that's not exactly like us, we make almost like us. Like aliens. Have you noticed they're never really that alien? They're just like us, but a metal eyebrow. Oh yeah, they're so different, you know. Pointy ears, a lot of skin conditions, you know. 28th century, dermatology still a problem, you know, just... And it's the same with God. We make him so much like us. And the irony there is that in the Bible, they're telling you in the very first story that you can't know him. What's the big sin they do right away? They eat from the tree of knowledge. Get it, knowledge? Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. That's what he's saying. You understand God as well as your dogs understand you. I believe that is the correct analogy. And that's why we love to be pet owners, because we are God to them. And I know because I was raised Catholic, I know, and it's a programming you have to deprogram. It takes a lifetime sometimes. To this day, I cannot have sex on Christmas. There's no rational reason. I just feel Jesus is up there going, just don't fuck on my birthday, would you? Is that? And Jesus is great. I love Jesus. Is there a better role model? No. It's religion. It's the people who get in between. The bureaucracy, you know? I mean, first of all, you can't talk directly to God. You know, you gotta go into a priest, and then he tells Jesus, and Mary got in there. It's like the DMV, you know, it's... And it's how people abuse Jesus. Was there ever a greater victim of name dropping than Jesus Christ? Just what goes on at the Grammys must make him cry tears of blood. I mean, musicians, the most inarticulate egomaniacs who make models and athletes look like Salman Rushdie, thanking Jesus. It's not about Jesus, of course, it's about them. Jesus had a part in making them so brilliant and talented. And then they thank their agent and their manager, because they did too. You know, when they wear that crucifix as jewelry, the huge platinum and gold and diamonds, I'm sure that's what Jesus had in mind when he was, I hope my death will allow rappers to signal to chicks that they're rich so they can get laid more. And yes, athletes, let me tell you, Jesus doesn't care who wins the game. So stop thanking him, okay? I never heard anybody blame Jesus when they lose. You know, fucking Jesus, I tell you, I had the ball right there. I had it in the numbers and that Jesus. The other team outprayed us at halftime. That's what happened. You gotta pray harder than the other guy in this league. But you know, that stuff is just obnoxious.